100-day cycle of 2023. They were presented by several ministers. On behalf of the Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Innovation, Science and Technology Development, Honorable Mangaliso Ndlovu reported on the following projects. The first project being the establishment of the Roads Material Production Plant in Zvishavane, that's in Midlands Province, which is at 90% completion, with the factory shell completed and the production line equipment having already been procured. Production of roads materials will lengthen the lifespan of roads and reduce the cost of road construction and maintenance in the country. Then the second project is the construction of the Gwanda State University Mining Laboratory and Innovation Complex. And Gwanda is in Matabeleland South Province, as we all know, and that has reached 85% completion. The project will improve the country's capabilities in exploration and mineral beneficiation. The third project done by the Ministry of Higher and Tertiary Education is the establishment of the Lupane State University Bingwa Wildlife and Ecotourism Innovation Park. That's in Matabeleland North Province, and that project is about 60% complete. The project will improve hands-on training and ecotourism management and facilitate industrialization of the sector. Then the fourth project is the establishment of the Baobab Juice Plant, and this is at Mutare Teachers College in Manicaland Province, which is about 65% complete, and the plant equipment has been procured. This project will improve livelihoods through rural industrialization. Then the fifth project of the Ministry of Higher and Tertiary Education is the construction of the National University of Science and Technology Tech Innovation Center, which has reached 85% completion, and the center will be the icon of innovation in Zimbabwe's industrialization. The sixth project is the plant factory building of the modern biodiesel production in Mutoko, that's Mashonaland East Province, and that one is complete and now waiting the delivery of the production plant equipment. The project will benefit the communities through revolutionizing rural livelihoods through industrialization. Then the next report was given by the Minister of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development, Honorable Dr. Anxious Masuka, who reported on the projects that were being implemented by his ministry. He highlighted the progress as follows. The first project, the electrification and installation of center pivots covering 100 hectares of the 150 hectares Madoda irrigation scheme in Mashonaland West Province, and that is now completed. Then the second project is the development of 69 hectares of irrigation, a Chitemene irrigation scheme in Manicaland Province, which was already completed. Then there's 50 hectares out of the targeted 72 hectares of the Msikawan B2 irrigation scheme, once again in Manicaland Province, was developed and 2 boreholes were sunk. Then there's the fourth project, which is the construction of Chivu Dam in Mashonaland East Province, which is now at 98.2% of completion, while the development of 120 hectares of irrigable land is 90% complete. The fifth project is the construction of the Gwai Shangani Dam, which has reached 70.2% of completion. Then the sixth project, 115 out of the targeted 120 deep tanks have been rehabilitated across all rural provinces under the accelerated deep tank rehabilitation program. Then the seventh project is 200,000 sweet potato vines were distributed under the sweet potato vine production program. The eighth one is 159,787 chicks were distributed under the Presidential Poultry Scheme. Then the 10th project is the reverse engineering for a traditional grain thresher was successfully carried out, and the testing of that prototype is underway. Then about 121 out of the targeted 200 tractors were distributed under the Belarus Mechanization Facility Phase 2. 89 farms were surveyed, while 824 A1 permits were issued and 11 99-year leases were also issued. In view of the importance of the Gwai Shangani Dam in ending the water supply challenges facing Bulawayo Metropolitan as well as Matabele North and South provinces, Cabinet has directed that more resources be availed in order to expedite completion of construction works. Then we've received the third report on behalf of the Honorable Minister Dr. Jennifer Mswere. Honorable D. Garwe reported on projects being implemented by the Ministry of Information, Communication, Technology, Postal and Courier Services, and the report is as follows. The first project, the construction of 24 community information centers, has reached 90% of completion. And then the second project, 100 ICT laboratories have been established at schools across provinces under the ICT Laboratory Per School program. Then the third one is under the Smart Government Agriculture program. 1,000 computers were availed for use by agricultural extension officers, while 160 desktop computers were allocated to the Ministry of Public Service, Labor and Social Welfare. The other project in that ministry is 517 schools were connected to the internet under the Schools Internet Connectivity Program. 250 e-learning platforms were deployed to schools under the e-learning platforms for schools in all provinces. Then there are 4 base stations which were commissioned at St. Mary's and Dema in Chitungwiza, ZRP High School in Harare, and Chogugudza Primary School in Domboshawa under the wireless radio base stations. This project thereby exceeding the initial target of 2. Then the other project is under the e-health connectivity program. A total of 71 health institutions were connected. Then the deployment of towers to Suure in Zaka and Bonda site in Berengwa, 2 of the 5 areas without coverage, was completed. That goes for the Ministry of ICT. Then the next presentation was from the Minister of Public Service, Labor and Social Welfare, Honorable Professor Paul Mavima, who reported on the projects which are being implemented by his ministry. He highlighted the following projects. The first one is the establishment of the Migrant Resource Center in Bulawayo, which is in progress with refurbishment of the building having been completed. Then there's the food deficit mitigation strategy, which is being implemented in 52 rural districts with 22,056 metric tons of grain having been distributed to 2,205,625 people in January 2023. During the month of February, 17,886 metric tons of grain were distributed to 1,788,640 people. And then the following presentation was done by the Minister of Primary and Secondary Education, Honorable Dr. Evelyn Govu, who reported on the projects being implemented by her ministry, and these include the following. First, the schools registration exercise is progressing well, with 27 more schools registered nationwide. The exercise will be completed within the current 100-day cycle and is targeting early childhood development, primary and secondary schools across all provinces. Then the second project is the upgrading of schools infrastructure across the provinces, which has reached 81% of completion. Some of the projects are Benza Primary School in Masvingo Province, Sanya Primary in Mashonaland Central, St. John's Baptist Secondary School in Manicaland, then Luwande Primary in Matabele South, and all this is being done in partnership with development partners. Ruwimbo Primary in Mashonaland West, Heathcliff 1 Council Primary in Harare, and Cowdrey Park Primary in Bulawayo. All these schools are being upgraded. Government is supporting the program through resources from devolution funds and has taken over the responsibility for ECD infrastructure provision from parents. Then there is the construction and conversion of laboratories, which has reached 76%, and work is in progress at Vulakalo Secondary in Mangwe District in Matabele South. Then in Seke 3 High, that's in Harare, and Mfakose 2 High in Harare, there is also work being done there. Dandawa High in Hurungwe, Mutunga Gore Secondary in Mashonaland Central, and Gogo High School in Lupane District in Matabele North Province. there's a lot of work which is being done there to upgrade those schools. Then there's the construction of a 32-bed girls' hostel and solar electrification of the facility at Fatima High School, which has reached 35% of completion, while the electrification is at 75%. Government and development partners are collaborating on the project. Free Wi-Fi facilities are being installed at Cowdrey Park Primary School in Bulawayo Metropolitan Province. That is for the Minister of Primary and Secondary Education. Then the next presentation was from the Minister of Environment, Climate, Tourism and Hospitality Industry, who reported as follows. First project, the project on promoting environmental protection, climate resilience and natural resources management aims at constructing 16 units with 96 beds at the Mountain Lake Resort in Juliusdale in Nyanga. That's in Manicaland Province. That one is complete and is set for commissioning in July 2023. Then there's the project on the establishment of a radar network, which has made significant progress at the country's airports, namely the Victoria Falls International Airport in Matabele North Province, then the Buffalo Range Airport in Masvingo Province. The other project being done by the ministry has installed a total of 21 automatic weather stations at existing meteorological services stations around the country, and this is in order to enhance weather forecasting. Then there is the major refurbishment works at the Rhodes Nyanga Hotel, once again in Manicaland Province, Nyanga. These have been completed and the facility has commenced taking bookings after recruiting more than 50% of critical skill staff. So employment has been created there. Then there's the construction works which have commenced under the project to establish Environmental Management Agency district offices in Zaka, in Masvingo Province. Then in Chimanimani district of Manicaland Province, Muzarabani in Mashonaland Central Province, also work is going on there. There is then the construction of a community meeting shed by Zim Parks, which has been completed for Mbire district in Mashonaland Central Province, while resources mobilization is underway for similar projects for Cholocho, Wange, and Pinga districts of Matabele North Province. Also, the sheds will be done in Beitbridge in Matabele South Province and Kariba district in Mashonaland West also. Then we received a report from the Minister of National Housing and Social Amenities, Honorable Daniel Garwe, who reported on progress under his purview as follows. In Harare Metropolitan Province, construction of the Zwarasekwa Flats Block 7, 8, and 9 has reached roof level, reflecting 70% of completion, while Block 10 has reached 95% completion. Then in Mashonaland East Province, the first two blocks being constructed in Marondera have reached roof level, reflecting 70% of completion, while the other two blocks are at 61% of completion. In Binga, once again, the Ministry of National Housing, in Matabele North Province in Binga, 10 of the 20 houses being built for flood victims have been completed, while the other 10 have reached roof level. Then there is site mobilization for the Uzumba Maramba Pungwe Mutawatawa housing project, which has been completed. And this involves a pilot project on high-rise flats in rural district councils to support settlement densification. And finally, in Lupane district of Matabele and Matabele North Province, the project on the regularization of Garikai Kalani Kukye settlements has opened up. 45% of road works have been done, while the water reticulation system has been completed, and trench excavations for sewer reticulation have reached 60% of completion. That is where the 100 cycle day reports end. Now we moved on to receiving a report on the Zimbabwe's response to the COVID-19 pandemic and the procurement and rollout of vaccines. Cabinet received an update on the country's response to the COVID-19 pandemic and the rollout of vaccines, as this report was presented by the chairman of the Ministers' Committee on the National COVID-19 Response, who is Honorable Vice President and Minister of Health and Child Care, General Retired Dr. CGD N. Chiwenga. The nation is being informed that the cumulative COVID-19 cases as of 23rd April 2023 stood at 264,637. with 258,883 recoveries and 5,685 deaths. There were 64 active cases, while 1 death was recorded during the week under review. There were 14 new hospital admissions compared to the 7 recorded the previous week, with 4 being in intensive care. Regarding the national vaccination program, a total of 7,140,454 received their first doses of the COVID-19 vaccine, and then about 5,357,572 received their second, and about 1,906,089 have received their third doses of COVID-19 vaccines. The nation is advised to continue to get vaccinated and also adhere to all COVID-19 public health and social measures since the pandemic is not yet over. Then Cabinet received an update on the cholera outbreak response. Cabinet received an update report on the ongoing cholera outbreak. This report was presented by the Honorable Vice President and Minister of Health and Child Care, General Retired Dr. C.G.D.N. Chiwenga. While efforts to contain the cholera outbreak have been intensified, the nation is being informed that as of 23rd April 2023, Zimbabwe's cumulative suspected cases has reached 536, with 503 recoveries and 3 deaths. 9 out of the country's provinces have reported suspected cases, with only Mat North province still unaffected by the outbreak. The most recent 6 suspected cases were reported in Midlands province. And then the worst affected provinces are Mat South, which recorded 186 cases, and Manicaland with 152 cases. With regard to the regional situation, 14 African countries have now reported cholera outbreaks since the beginning of this year. A cumulative 160,756 suspected cholera cases and 3,288 deaths have been recorded, reflecting a case fatality rate of 2.1% as of 4 April 2023. Cabinet wishes to assure the nation that the cholera risk assessment is ongoing in all our provinces in order to determine the targeting of oral cholera vaccination. Active surveillance is ongoing at points of entry and exit, while water and sanitation provision is being intensified in communities at high risk. That is for the cholera, and now we move on to the principles of the Zimbabwe Land Commission General Conditions of Service Regulations. Cabinet received and approved the principles of the Zimbabwe Land Commission, that's General Conditions of Service Regulations, as presented by the Minister of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development, Honorable Dr. A.J. Masuka. The nation is being informed that the Land Commission is an integral institution of the reform agenda of the Second Republic. The principles of the Land Commission provide for the following among a raft of issues: the recruitment, grading, promotion and advancement of members on the basis of merit, and procedures for their transfer and secondment. It also talks about the steps on resignation or termination of contracts, the applicable pensionable age and retirement, the duties and conduct expected of members. Other provisions relate to the leave and death in service, indemnification of drivers, maternity leave, training for staff development in order to increase organizational productivity, and grievances and disciplinary handling procedures. Then we moved on to receive a report on the official opening of the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair. Cabinet noted that the 2023 edition of the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair started well on Monday, 24th April 2023. His Majesty King Mswati III of Eswatini will preside over the official opening of the fair on Friday, 28th April. Then the other one is on the other information for you is on the Transform Africa Summit, which is going on in Victoria Falls. Cabinet wishes to inform the nation that His Excellency, the President Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, will host heads of state and government at the Transform Africa Summit, which is being held in Victoria Falls. This will happen tomorrow, the 26th of April, the official opening. The heads of state and government who have confirmed their attendance are His Majesty King Mswati III of Eswatini. Then there's President Paul Kagame of Rwanda, then President Lazarus Chakwera of Malawi, President Hakainde Hichilema of Zambia, and President Nasibe of Togo. That's for your information. Thank you for listening, and this is where our post-cabinet ends.